Okay, I titled this "The Journey Continues" because it really is a journey. And if anybody would have told me that I would be where I am today 30 years ago, I would not have believed it, because I was on a very different path and a very different course. And each chapter of my life has taken different turns and twists. So I'm going to share with you some of those. What time do you want me to end for Q&A?
Yeah, probably you have an hour.
Okay.
And then
So
we leave at 12:45.
okay, so I'll just keep that in mind. So I start off with my story. When I was about 9 years old, my dad was a trucking manager, terminal manager for a trucking company. And he let me come on Saturdays to his office. So I would sit in the secretary's chair, pretend to type. That was when we had typewriters. And I would talk about how one day I'm going to run this place. And my dad was one of these people that encouraged me and said, you know what, Carla, you can do whatever you want to do. He said that, you know, whatever it is that you want to do, you can accomplish. So right there at 9 years old, I figured out I can do whatever I want to do. And so it was really the basis for the rest of my life. Many people have told me many times, well, you can't do that, or you can't do that. And it kind of go, no, my dad told me when I was 9 years old, I can do whatever I want to do. I can be whatever I want to be. And it kind of set a vision too of, you know, management, business. And so that's what I pursued. I started out in the restaurant business. So can you see that? Is that up there? Okay, so I was with a company called Sea Galley Restaurants. They were in the Pacific Northwest, similar to Red Lobster type of restaurants. And so I started there as a manager trainee and worked my way up to a district manager for them. And then I went to Godfather's Pizza and was a district manager for them. And then Mrs. Fields Cookies hired me away from Godfather's Pizza to be a regional manager, director of operations for a bakery cookie concept that she had. And kind of a whole different thing. It was retail, but it was still restaurant and food, but a little bit different. I wasn't expecting to do that, but it turned out to be great. That's how I ended up in Utah. I was in the Pacific Northwest, and I ended up taking a job with Debbie Fields, and so she asked me to move to Utah because her corporate headquarters were in Park City. So I found myself in Utah, which I never thought I would be. I'd always be in the Pacific Northwest. So twists and turns took me to there. And then I got an offer from the president of Morris Air. I was on a flight. I always tell this little story because I think it shares kind of the, what I want to share with you is how opportunities can present themselves in the most unexpected ways. So it's Valentine's Day. I have to be on the road. I was commuting back and forth to San Francisco Bay Area. I'm on a flight from San Jose, and I take Morris Air. It's a charter company. I take it every week because I am now servicing the Bay Area, kind of commuting from here. So every week I'm on the flight, so I'm getting to know the flight attendants. And so we make heart-shaped cookies for Valentine's Day. So I grab a bunch of them. I'm getting on the flight. It's Valentine's Day. I'm thinking to myself, I got to get off the road. This stinks. You know, here I am once again, another holiday on the road. I'm away from my kids. I'm away from my husband. And so I say to the flight attendants, you know, since we can't be with our sweethearts, chocolate's the next best thing. Here you go. And so I went back and took my seat. In those days, they had first class, but they'd all been bought up ahead of time by Novell. So no one could sit in first class, and usually there was only a couple people up there, but they had pre-bought all the seats. So I went back in the back and took my seat. Well, it happened to be on that flight, David Neeleman, who's the president of Morris Air, was on that flight, and the flight attendants went up to him and said, hey, the cookie lady's on board, and she brought us cookies. No one from Novell is in first class. Can she ride up in first class? And he's like, sure, that's fine with me. And then they come back and they say to me, hey, the president of our airline is on board. He's up in first class, and he'd like to meet you because he hears you fly us every week. And she goes, and he's inviting you to come join him in first class. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'd never got to do first class with Morris Air because, like I said, the seats were already bought up. So I go up to the front of the flight, and I don't know that isn't what he said. I just walk up to him and I said, hi. And he goes, well, hi. And I go, he goes, you must be the cookie lady. And I go, yeah, I work for Mrs. Fields Cookies, so they call me the cookie lady. And I bring him cookies. He goes, I understand you fly us every week. I go, yep, I do. And he goes, well, so tell me how we do. And I said, well, do you want the diplomatic answer or do you want the honest answer? And he goes, well, the honest answer, of course. And so he invited me to sit down next to him, and I took the rest of that flight, that hour-and-a-half flight, to tell him what he needed to do to change his airline to actually service the corporate client, because it was a great client for vacationer. It was a great airline for vacationers, but it wasn't a great airline for corporate clients. By the end of the flight, he said to me, why don't you come work for me? Yeah, whatever. I said, no, I said, I have a great job. He goes, yeah, but he goes, I think you're ready to get off the road. And he goes, you could come work for me, do all the things you told me I needed to do, and not have to travel. So long story short, I ended up interviewing with him and June Morris, and they offered me a job, and I took it, which was completely random. You can look at it a lot of different ways, but it took a big turn. I went out of the restaurant business in an instant and into the airline business, which there's a lot of similarities. I could go into that, but that's not what I'm here to talk about. But it was somewhat the same, but completely different. So now I'm in the airline business. And then 4 years later, Morris Air sells to Southwest Airlines, and I find myself unemployed. Because as a VP of operations for the airline, Southwest already has a VP of operations. They don't need another one. And if I wanted to do anything corporate with them, I had to move to Texas. I decided, no, didn't want to move to Texas. I'm going to stay in Utah. So I started my own call center business. It's something I'd started at Morris Air. I did home agents, which was this was 1993. Home agents hadn't been even heard of. I got the idea from an AT&T conference. We were struggling having agents. We had filled our call center. So I went to this conference, and it had a breakout session called Bringing the Work to the Worker. I caught this vision of having agents all over the valley, thousands of them working from home, taking airline reservations. So I brought it back. I finally convinced Morris Air to try it and test it. They did it. They took 20 of our best agents, took them home, and their productivity went up 15%. So they knew we had a winner. And by the time we sold to Southwest Airlines, we had 180 agents working from home. Well, because of that experience, I was like, I can't just let this die. It's the greatest concept, but Southwest Airlines wasn't going to use it. They said because of union contracts, they couldn't have people working from home or part-time, which a lot of these people were part-time. So I developed Occurrence Teleservices, and we were an inbound call center with the majority of our agents working from home, taking calls. And so now I'm in the call center business. I mean, completely different from the airline business, but not really. Very similar. There's a lot of things that are like it. But did I think? I always thought if I ever owned my own business, it would be a restaurant, because that's what I knew and loved. I love restaurants. I love that whole thing. And so, yeah, I had this entrepreneurial spirit, which meant I did entrepreneurial things with any company I was with. But I never thought that I would actually do that as my own business. So here I am now, owning my own call center business and building that. I did that for 13 years, and then I had the opportunity to sell to a private equity group. So I got out of the call center business, and I took a stint investing. She's talked about VAST. I invested in some businesses. That didn't go so well. And then we started Ideal Shape. Now, my husband and I had actually started Ideal Shape in 2003, but because it came about because my father-in-law was 400 pounds. We were sitting on his back deck one day, and he said, I bet in my lifetime I've gained and lost over 1,000 pounds. And I just thought, oh my gosh, that's horrible. He goes, yeah, I can lose the weight, but I can't keep it off. And I was like, David, we got to do something for him. And so David had always wanted to start a health company and develop meal replacement shakes and that kind of thing. So we started working on that in 2003. We did a retreat. That was the only way we could think of it. And we had a group that did what we call now brain training. They were helping our salespeople become better salespeople by removing the obstacles, beliefs that weren't working for them. So we said to them, will this work for weight loss? And they said, absolutely. So we took a retreat. His dad came down. He lost 150 pounds, kept it off for 5 years until he passed away. And even though we know obesity killed him, the last 5 years of his life was better because it was the only time he'd ever kept the weight off. And it was really because of the brain training. That was the part that was different. So that's how Ideal Shape was born, but we couldn't run both a call center and health and fitness company, so we shelved the fitness company, worked on the Occurrence till we sold it. Then we had a son who graduated in exercise science who was using the Ideal Shape name to build a personal training business. Came to his dad one day and said, I want to build that online business that you saw and do products. He goes, I'm tired of doing personal training. So David and him started building up and then invited me to come in and oversee the operations. And so that's how we got in the health and fitness business. And that's where we are today. So I want to ask you the question, what is the common thread? Restaurants, airlines, telecommunications, and health and fitness. What is the common, well, that's true, me. What else? What is the common thread, do you think? Service, yeah. What? People. They were definitely people business, definitely service businesses. Anything else?
Operations.
Yeah, I have a ton of operational experience. But the real thing that set me up for it was my business education. I went to school and I got a business management degree. And from that education, many opportunities came, and most of my learning happened in the field. You know, my basis was the education, but most of the learning happened in the field. But I was given those opportunities because I got an education. So it's why I'm here. Somebody says, why would you go take the time to speak to 12 people on a busy Thursday morning? What is that about? And it's like, this is my opportunity to give back to what I believe was key in my success and future success. Like I said, the journey continues because it's not over. I still got a lot to do and accomplish. And so for each of you, wherever you are in that journey, you're doing the right thing in coming here and getting that education, because that really will be the springboard to the rest of your life. What I like to do now is talk about the lessons I've learned, because I think that's the value for you in coming to this class today is, can you learn from anything that I've done in the 35 years of my business experience? So there's many more than this, but I picked my top ones, and I like to share some examples. So pick an industry career that you have passion about, something that you get excited. So it doesn't mean you're going to be an entrepreneur. It doesn't mean, but it does mean if you're going to work, pick an industry is something that you have passion about. Because I'm telling you, when the days get long and the challenges get tough, the passion will drive you. So people ask me, so were you passionate about telemarketing? You know, that seems a little odd. No, I was never passionate about telemarketing. What I was passionate about was employing people from home. This vision of helping people that they could work from home and earn a great living and take care of their families, and that's what I was passionate about. The health industry is a little easier because, yes, I am very passionate about that. Health and fitness are important to me. They always have been, and helping others get healthy and fit is driving. Last month we hosted our 12 winners. Every month we pick a winner of customers that send in their before and after picture and their story. So we pick the best one for that month, and they become that monthly winner. And then at the end of the 12 months, and they win a trip to Park City. So at the end of the 12 months, we bring the 12 contestants out to Park City all together. And we have a big shindig we do up in Park City, and we get to meet these people that we have changed their lives. And then we videotape them. So now they're on our website. So if you go to idealshape.com, or well, actually, probably the best place to go is to Ideal Shape on Facebook. You can vote for one of our winners. They're competing now for a 7-day cruise. So each one of them, we have their video of their story. So if you want to get inspired, go watch those videos. They're very, very inspiring. And then people vote, and so that one of them can win a 7-day cruise. Well, on the last night of the event, after dinner, we have each one of them come up and tell their story. And our employees say it's the highlight of the year. It makes them feel better than anything else about what they do about their job. It gives them purpose, because after you hear stories of people losing anywhere from 60 to over 100 pounds, how we've changed their life. Some of them say given their life. One lady said saved their life because she was ready to commit suicide. You know that what you're doing has meaning and is important. And so health and fitness is easy for me to be passionate about, and I love it. But you have to figure out what that is for you. Everybody is different, and that's what's exciting, is that if you pick something you're passionate about, it's easy. And they say you'll never go to work again. It's true. I have 80 to 90% of what I do in a day is because I love to do it. There's always the 10 to 20% of, I get to deal with vendors or whatever, or financial things or banks or whatever, that I don't necessarily love to do. But the 80%, I love it. I love what we do. When you're working for somebody else, treat the company as if you own the business. It's your own business. So here's the example I like to give. I told you a little bit about the AT&T conference that I went to. Okay, Morris Air had a huge problem. Back then, we had people on hold. We were doing $39 flights all over the West Coast. So we had people on hold for over a half hour waiting to talk to a reservation agent. And that was back in the day where we were spending 25 cents a minute. There was no free minutes back then. We were spending 25 cents a minute to have people sit on hold for 30 minutes to get a $39 flight. Do the math, okay? It does not work. Plus, people were getting ticked off, and by the time they got to an agent, they were just angry and ugly, and it was just horrible. But we had no more space. We had filled a 20,000 square foot call center. We had no more space for agents. I could hire more agents, but there was no place to put them. And when I went to this AT&T conference and I went to that breakout session, I immediately thought, here's a solution. And it wasn't, I could start my own business with this idea. It was, here's a solution to help Morris Air do a better job. And I came back and made that happen. When you see things that make things work better, when you have ideas that could make, that's when you make a difference in that company. So whether it's your own business, where it's obvious you're going to do that, or you're working for somebody else, I say treat the company as if you own it. Find solutions, make a difference, give 110%. It comes back 100-fold. I promise you it will. Don't be afraid to surround yourself with people that are better than you. I see this all the time. When I was in management for corporations, and then subsequently when I owned my own business, I would see people all the time who would not hire a super talented person. And I would just be like baffled. I couldn't figure that one out. Why would you not hire a super talented person? They only make you look better. You learn from them, I was just like that. And I realized early on it was their own insecurities that they could not possibly do that. So what I have done is I have almost always surrounded myself with people that are better than I am. A perfect example at Occurrence, I was doing the financials. And my husband came to me one day and he says, why don't we hire a CFO? And I said, well, because I can do this, it's something I like to do. And he says, yeah, but because your talents are better utilized in sales and marketing and really selling the company. And if we got a CFO that was really good, they would probably make up the difference in all these things that you can't do. I said, yeah, good point. So I went out and I recruited the best CFO that I could. And that person was way better than I was and took our company to a whole new level. If I would have been afraid of hiring somebody that was better than I was, we would have stayed where we were at. So surround yourself with people that are better than you, especially in the areas that you're not good at or you don't have the expertise at. Don't be afraid. It's only going to help you. don't accept, it can't be done, or you can't do that. I hear that so much. My employees won't do it anymore because they know me now. It's like nothing gets to Carla faster than say, well, that can't be done, or we can't do that. Nothing gets to me quicker than I just like, whew, off the charts, like, don't say that to me. I don't ever believe it can't be done. I just believe we haven't figured out a way to do it yet. And I'll give you a pretty good example. Some of you, that usually when I speak to college students, they won't even remember this, but I notice there's a few of you in this room that are like, yeah, you'll remember Y2K. Y2K was a very big scare. And in our business, we were told our phone system and computer system for ordering would not make it in the year 2000. So we worked in 1999 to get a new system up and running so we could still be in business after 2000. So because of some circumstances we couldn't control, AT&T didn't get the lines in on time for us to test it till December 15th. So we're testing our new system through the holidays. Now, that's not a big deal except for the fact I'm in the call center business. My big business starts in January. It's the health and fitness. It's when people want to get healthy and fit. And so the end of December is slow for us. People are buying Christmas. They're not buying what I'm selling. Finance, health, all this kind of stuff. They're not buying that. So we're in the slow season and we're testing the new system and it's working pretty good and we're pretty happy with it and all's a go. Then January 3rd comes and we log all these agents on because we have infomercials now coming on, and our system goes to a screeching halt because it can't handle more than 25 agents on it at a time. And I'm needing to get 70 to 150 on at a time. It was taking 10 minutes just to save an order. So my IT guy goes, well, let's get a bigger server. So we get a bigger server. That doesn't solve it. And well, let's throw this at it. Let's do this. Let's rewrite this part of the program. He was scrambling day after day. Our system is completely down. We were back to paper. My agents were writing the orders on paper and then faxing them into us, and I was paying people in the middle of the night to enter them into the system so that my clients could get their orders the next morning, and it was ugly, and my clients were getting upset. This is their busy season, and I am behind. It is struggling. We are not having success, and my IT guy goes, well, let's try this, let's try this. So we did. I listened to him for 10 days. We're 10 days into it, so it's like the 13th of January. And one day, I'm standing in the shower. Some of the best ideas come in the shower for me. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. My system worked in 1999. It can work now. I'll just change the date. It doesn't know that it's not 1999. I know it's 2000, but I'll just change the date. And then at the end of the day, I'll change the date to what it really is. So I brought that idea into my IT guy and he goes, that's not going to work. And I go, sure it will. Think about it. You tell the system it's January 13, 1999. It works like it did last year, January 13, 1999. I get my 150 agents on. They work all day long. We compile the orders. We do a scan and say, look at this date. And when you see this date, change it to this date. I could pay somebody in the middle of the night a lot less to do that, and he goes, oh, that just might work. And I said, I think it will. So that's what we did. And then we trashed the whole system and started over developing it in a whole different code because it was the code that was wrong. Back then, you didn't know things like this. Now you do. It was the code. And we actually celebrated the year 2000. We did a big New Year's Eve party on November 16th. Of 2000 and did a New Year's Eve. We ran for 11 months in 1999 and changed the date. Now it got a little tricky. There was leap year in there, but there wasn't leap year in 99, so we had to create a whole day when there wasn't a day, and I mean there was all kinds of things that happened. But the bottom line is my clients never knew, and they were happy. They got their orders saying 2000. They didn't know we were functioning in 1999. So it's an example of people saying it can't be done, you got to make this work, and just not accepting it. Don't be afraid to fail, admit your mistake, and move on. Oh my gosh, I could do a whole day of all the mistakes I've made. Numerous times I have agreed to do things, bought programs or systems, looked at different things and said, yeah, that's a great idea. Tried it, it didn't work, admit the mistake, and move on. Don't stay stuck in the things that you don't do right. Learn from it, you know, have the experience, but don't stay there. It's not healthy or productive. And when other people make mistakes, don't stay stuck either. The same IT guy that I had then made a huge mistake. He botched a big order and it cost us about $28,000. Well, this is a time when I didn't have $28,000 to, you know, the company was just getting started, and you know, he came in my office ready to get fired. And I said, what do you mean? He's like, well, I figured you're going to let me go because, you know, of what I did. And I said, okay, tell me, did you learn from this? Well, yeah. Are you ever going to make that mistake again? No way. And I said, I just paid $28,000 for your education. Why would I let you go? I said, because I bring somebody new in, they're going to make other mistakes, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be way better than they are. So you made a mistake. We got it. We're going to move on. We'll pay off the debt. We'll be fine. We'll get through this. But let it go, and let's move on. And to date, he still works for us. He came from our other company to our new company and still works for us. And that was probably 18 years ago or something. Been one of the best employees I've ever had. So, but I paid big bucks for his education. That wasn't just the only one, but that was. Prioritize. You might not be able to do it all, but you can do the things that are most important to you. Most of you in this class are going to deal with career, family. You're going to have a lot of obligations besides after you get through your education. You know, could I do it all? No. As a mom, 3 kids, I have 7 now because my husband, we blended 2 families, so we have 7 kids, we have 10 grandkids. I just learned early on, I can't do it all. But what I can do are the important things. So if my son had a science fair, I put it on my calendar. And if I had to come back to work and work in the middle of the night to get something done, then I did it. If one of my sons had a ball game, I made sure I was there. If there was a graduation, if there was something special going on in their lives, and same with our grandkids now, I really work to put that on my schedule, prioritize, and be there. And then I do the same thing with work things. You can't do it all, so I figure out what are the most important things, and I prioritize them. And I get those done, and if other things don't get done, they don't get done. And it's amazing how many things just go away after a while. When you thought they needed to be done, they were important, you were like, I got to do this. You find out you really don't. So I'm a big one on prioritizing. Put on your calendar things. Now, because I'm in health and fitness, you are one of the most important things to put on your calendar. You need to take care of you. You really can't take care of anyone else if you're not taking care of you. So I have a very strict morning ritual that I do that takes care of me. And it's about my health and fitness. It's the way I eat, it's the way I exercise, it's the mental. I do a meditation, it's the mental preparation that I do. It's very specific, and I do it every day for me. And I have found that those 2 hours that I take for me come back to me tenfold throughout the rest of the day. I'm way more productive, I get way more done than the days when I don't make that a priority. And I just think, I'm just too busy today, I just can't do it, and I feel the difference. So I will always tell anyone, make you part of that priority. What else I've learned? Find a mentor. Find someone that you can talk to, throw ideas at. give you advice, ask questions to. There's the value of a mentor is it's irreplaceable. I'll tell you a story about a mentor I had, which was so interesting. I signed up for a group, a women in business group in Salt Lake years ago when I was first starting my business. And they had, it's called Meine. You could sign up for a networking program and they would network you with a mentor. So I was really excited, and you'd meet with them once a month. And so at the initial meeting, I get to meet my mentor. So I was, so this was 20 years ago. So what I'd be 35. This woman was like 60. They paired me up with, and I was like, really? And she was in the industrial business. Like, she planned and helped people put warehouses together and all this stuff. And I'm like, really? What is she going to teach me? I need someone in the call center business. Okay, so they pair me up with her. I meet her. She's a nice enough lady, but I was pretty disappointed. So she spends a few minutes with me, and she says, so what are the biggest challenges that you're having? And I started sharing with her what I was dealing with. She goes, oh, those are easy. Okay, da-da-da-da-da. Now this is what you need to do. And we spent an hour together, and I got more information. It was like a fire hose coming at me. I was like, whoa, 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 okay, stop. And we met once a month for the 6-month program. And to this day, we're still good friends. And she was the perfect mentor for me. And what I learned from that experience is they don't have to be in the business that you're in. They don't even have to have the same interests or talents, but what they have to have is life experience ahead of you. And she had plenty of that, you know? And so I always say, look for somebody that you can get ideas, bounce ideas off. I call them my board of directors. I have certain people that are my board of directors, and I run big life decisions by them. Market yourself and your business, or find someone that can. You need to understand social media. Okay, so I'm not basically great at marketing. It's not my thing. So for me, I had to surround myself with people that were really great at marketing. And what I learned through that is the times that I had people that weren't so good, our businesses didn't do too well. And the times I had people that were really great at it, my business took off. And my first business, Occurrence, there wasn't even social media. So when we started this, really getting into this 3 years ago, and we were like, you need to get into social media, get on Facebook, Instagram. I don't even think Instagram was there. Yeah, whatever. LinkedIn. They were throwing all this stuff. I'm like, that's dumb. That's for the kids. I'm not going to do that. And quickly learned it wasn't dumb. It was here to stay, and we needed to figure it out. Today, I think we're up to 60,000 fans. When I started it, we didn't even have 1,000. We have tons of followers on Instagram. We get lots of ideas for our clients from them. Lots of great posts. In fact, sometimes people will post questions, because we've made Facebook that interactive social media where they can post questions, we'll answer. Before we can get on and answer, our customers have, 4 or 5 or 6 people have jumped in and answered for them. Our customers have become our biggest source for motivating people, exciting them, cheering them on, telling them not to give up, all kinds of things. So that's why I added in this, you've got to understand social media, and you've got to use it for your business, whatever that is. And why I put market yourself is because even if you're not going to own your own business, you need to figure out how to market yourself. Because if you're going to go into business with somebody else or for somebody else, that's what you need to be able to market, is yourself. And it's not a bad idea to do that with a LinkedIn page. That's where you start. You may even have a fan page that you have that is different from your personal page that you do for marketing yourself. There's a lot of great ideas now that people are doing, and fun things that they're doing with social media. So I encourage you to do that. Make sure you have great technology and spend the time to research it continually. Back in the day when I first started in business, because I was running restaurants, all I thought you had to do was find good employees. treat them right, motivate them, inspire them, excite them, and you had a great business. What I learned through the experience that I shared with you earlier about our technology and when it didn't work is I had a lot of employees that were ready to quit. They were not about to work in an environment with crummy technology. They just wouldn't. And so now I look at the value as it's equal. You have to hire great employees, but you also have to have great technology to support them. The two of them go together. So no matter what business you're in, whether you're working for somebody else or you're doing it yourself, you have to marry those two, because when you have great technology without great employees, you only have one piece of it, and vice versa. You need both. If you're going to take really good care of your customers, you need to have both. For us, we've had to, I think we're on our 4th shopping cart now. Oh, painful. Can I just tell you, I hate bringing on a new shopping cart, just like childbirth. It seriously is. 9 months of, and then it's horrible. But it's what we've been required to do so that to make it easier and easier and easier for our customers to place an order and become a reoccurring customer, and all of the benefits of a great shopping cart. So we've had to do it, over the years, and it's just ugly. And I know next year we'll probably have to do another one. I'm not looking forward to that. So great technology is important. Have integrity in all your business dealings. I'll bet you most everybody will say this to you when they come to this class and they talk to you. They will say, have integrity. You're going to, that's obvious. And it's like, it's not obvious. Most people in business, a lot of people in business do not have integrity. And it's not important to them. And they don't see it as a value. I want to share with you one example of a time when it really made a difference in our business. In the call center business, we would have an infomercial in the middle of the night, say 2:30 in the morning. This was back in the day when there was no social media. They had to market on TV, and they did it with infomercials. So it's 2:30 in the morning, and they need 100 agents logged in for 1/2 hour. That's all they need, 1/2 hour. So I employ people all over the valley. They get up at 2:30 in the morning. They log in to take this infomercial. And the infomercial runs for the 1/2 hour, and we get calls for maybe another 20 minutes. And it's called drag. And then you keep a few people on for other calls, but those people can go back to bed. So our clients spend a certain amount of money for that 1/2 hour. Based on lifetime is more expensive than, AMC, for example. So they spend more to be on Lifetime. They spend more to be on the health and fitness channels, right? Whatever it is, they spend more. So based on how much they spend, they figure out how many calls they need and how many orders they'll get to make that payoff. So that night, we're expecting about 500 calls. So I have 100 agents logged in, and my phone switch has gone down, which means the agents can log in, but the calls won't come in because somewhere on the lines, they have gone down. So it's 2:30 in the morning, and I am scrambling and trying to get someone at AT&T to help me, and it's just not happening. So finally, we get the system back up about 4 a.m., and we get some drag calls. So some people were persistent. They worked for an hour and a half and didn't get through, but they were persistent. So instead of 500 calls, which the customer was expecting, we took 100 calls for them. So the next morning, the client calls up to see how their infomercial did. No, they pull their reports, because they can pull their reports. They see they only got 100 calls. They call me up to say, it looks like that spot didn't work, because they ran it. They have confirmation from the TV station that they ran it. We say we only got 100 calls. So to them, it didn't work. I have a moment of truth there. I can just say, yep, it didn't work. Or I can have integrity and tell them what really happened. So I said, well, not exactly. I said, this is what happened. Our phone switch went down, so we blocked the calls. People couldn't get through. And I said, I've looked at it. I've looked at how much you spent to run that commercial. and I will credit you back that amount, which I didn't have. It was a lot of money. It was probably $10,000 just for one spot. I said, I will credit you back that $10,000 so you can run that spot again so that we can take the calls and do the job. So you can see if it does work and we can do the job that we should have done for you in the future. And they were blown away. Are you kidding? Great. You know, we'll do it. We'll buy it tomorrow night and we'll see. And so why I tell that story is because I could have easily not said anything. But from that moment on, that client became so committed and would believe anything I said that I would never, if I said something didn't work, I said, I don't think they aired it because here's why. I don't think it worked because here's why. I think it was aired in a bad area because here's why. They believed me. From that moment on, that they knew that I had integrity and that I would not do what most businesses would do in that situation. So in all business dealings, have integrity. Now my last point is have fun. Life is too short. You got a lot of hours to work. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. It's a big challenge out there to eke out a living and to make a difference. And so, any questions? Yes.
How far, do you just have a bachelor's or did you?
Actually, I only have a associate's degree. I went to Rick's College when it was a 2-year college. And I had a counselor that said, get your 2-year degree and get your, because I was just going into restaurants, get your 2-year degree and then get 2 years of experience and you can go farther for me, what I was doing. Now I don't think that that's necessarily the case anymore. I did get a great education from the School of Hard Knocks, you know, but yeah, it's a lot more competitive now. That was a long time ago. Other questions? Yes.
So I just told my husband this the other day. I said, okay, if you don't want me going to law school, which is my passion, then I've got to find a job that is something I love. Because I hate accounting and that's what I do.
Okay.
Hate it. And I cannot see myself doing accounting for the rest of my life.
Okay.
I will pull my hair out.
Okay.
So I said, I got this grand idea. I am so into sports and athletics and whatever. I said, what if I got a job doing accounting for the Utah Jazz or something like that? So, isn't that funny? Because yeah. Okay, so what you said resounded really strongly with me is to find something within the field that you like.
Yep.
Which, here's my question. How hard would it be for me? I love your corporation. I've actually looked at you guys.
Oh, okay.
How hard would it be for someone like me to, I don't want to be a competitor to you. I would want to be like an intern with you. Do you have internships? That's maybe what I'm asking.
Yeah, we've done a couple of internships over the years. So we do have people that are within our company that do internships. We also have affiliates that if you don't know what affiliate marketing is, they market your product and then they get 25% of everything you sell. It's not multi-level marketing, it's just affiliate marketing. So we do have a lot of people that make a living that you know, push our products because they love them and they think that they're great and they can do them, and so they make money that way. And a lot of them do it nights and weekends till they build up that business so they could actually, you know, replace their job is what I'm saying with it. So there are some opportunities within the company. We're still a very small company. We only have 15 employees. And we actually contract out our CFO duties to A+ Benefits, who's our benefit.
I know them. Actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Personally know them.
Yeah.
So I worked for their competitor for a long time.
Do you? Okay, so that's who we use for all of our benefits and our you know, payroll and everything. And so we started moving over some of our CFO functions to them because we don't have a need for a full-time person. They're only, I think, probably doing 12 or 15 hours a month, and they're doing all of that level of work for us.
So do they do all your PEO? I mean, are you using them? They're a PEO, so are you using them for everything?
We use them for a bulk of things. Yeah, they currently handle all of our benefits. They are our payroll system for our employees, and now they're picking up the CFO function too. So we felt like, my husband and I, either one of us could do it, but we felt like it was time to contract that out and let someone else do it, and then we could spend more time doing the things we love to do and make the business go. So we're not at a level to have someone full-time in that position, but we have worked with them and found that they can do a great job for us. So.
Which is my last question.
No problem.
Do you bring business cards?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Great.
Okay. Yes.
That's
So
all.
I have a question about passion a little bit.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about passion, and I have been a nurse for a long time.
Okay.
20 years. And I'm trying to find a new passion. I love business, but I don't know if there's a specific industry. How would you recommend going about finding an industry that, like, I volunteer at the Chamber of Commerce, I'm just
Yep.
I'm kind of just out there sort of like.
I always ask people this: what do you think about when you have nothing to think about?
Oh, my family and kids. So that I've heard that. And I'm
Okay.
like, oh,
What
I would
else?
love to do something that promotes families.
Okay.
I do. There's a company I really like, DecisionWise. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
Anyway, but they promote in corporations how to kind of have a better work-life balance, thing like that. I think I would love that. but,
Okay.
like, I don't know how to kind of get my foot in the door.
Yeah. Well, and what I tell people is go volunteer to do and help out in something that you think you might have an interest in. Because when you volunteer in that, you really find out, am I willing to go spend the precious hours I have? But if it's something that you go, man, I really like this, or do an internship, there's paid internships, there's non-paid internships, but it gives you the opportunity to get into it. But we all think about our family. That we all think about that. That's not.
So that's why I'm
That's
like,
but if you aren't thinking about anything else, then it really may be your calling.
well, I look at a lot of industries and I think, well, I could do that. Well, I could do that. Like, I don't know.
Well, when you get passionate about something, you will know it.
Okay.
Like this morning, for example, I have a son that I'm looking to invest in helping him build an aquaponics farm. I don't know if you've ever heard of aquaponics. Okay, so it's where we raise fish organically, and then that water feeds the fruits and vegetables. And so we started looking at it. This kid is on fire. Like, I said to him, I called him up. I said, sounds like you just woke up. He goes, well, I was geeking out on solar systems and greenhouses till 3 in the morning. And yeah, it's only 8 o'clock, so I didn't get enough sleep, And I'm like, really? He goes, this is what I learned. And he goes on, he spews. I mean, just like, okay, and I'm just like, we have hit on a passion. He can't wait. We went and looked at a piece of property that had a cabin on it. We're interested in the 3 acres that the property has for the greenhouses and for the business. He could have lived in a trailer. He doesn't care what he has to live on the property because it's kind of a 24/7 hour business. But we walk into this cabin. There is no way I would live in a cabin like this. It was 1970. It had orange, countertops, purple carpet, blue walls. I mean, it was the ugliest cabin. Yeah, it was so bad. We're walking through it. I'm thinking, okay. And Mike's like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect. I could get a couple of roommates. They would help pay the rent. I'm just like, really? He goes, it's an artesian well, Mom. That's what we need because of this. And I'm not kidding. I can't shut him up. And this just started like a month ago. He found out about it a long time ago and had been kind of curious and talking to friends. But we decided to send him to a school for a week, just a really intense training and see, is this what you want? Is this what? And now we can't shut him off. I mean, we just can't. And so I will be probably starting another business and getting into the farming business, mostly to support him. I believe in it. It's healthy. It's nutritious. It falls in line with what we do. It's all things but I'll be the business part of it, and then he'll be the farmer. So when you come across it, you will know. That nothing will stop you. 5 in the morning, you will wake up and you will struggle to go to sleep at night because you're so excited about it.
Well, I just think, how do you make something you are interested in become something you do?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do that, and that's exactly what you do, is you figure out where is a market for this. I love to do this, and where is a market for this? How can I sell this? How can I market this? How can I do this for other people? Because I love to do it, and I guarantee it, if there's something you love to do, there's someone else out there willing to pay for it, because they don't love to do it, but they can pay you to do it. So it's hard to describe, but like I said, when you find it, you can't turn it off. And you know, as much as, what's your name here in the brown? Jerry?
Sherry.
Oh, Sherry. As much as you say, well, maybe I can find a niche of financial, you know, you may be able to do that. The challenge will be, you would be so much better if you actually get into something you absolutely love that, you know, takes over and you can't stop thinking about it. You can't. So, you know, there's ways to kind of shift it and compromise. I'm just telling you, it's way easier if you actually get to that place where you get up in the morning and you just go, I can't turn it off. I'm so excited about it.
So the years that you did those other jobs, did you feel that, or was it like?
Yeah. No. I loved being at Mrs. Fields. That was great, but I didn't like the travel. The travel sucked. So Morris-Air offered me a great job, operations, doing great things without the travel. But the airline business is a very difficult business. I mean, it's brutal. You just delay people for a little while. You want to hear ugly come out? It's brutal. I was just like, okay, seriously? It's snowing out there. Did you see that? There's 2 feet. It's dangerous to take off, and you're telling me, screaming at me, saying, you get me there. Like, oh, yeah, right. I can't get. I mean, seriously. So there were parts of the airline business. No, I didn't love that, you know. But so there's steps I think you take, but you better like 80% of it, you know?
Well, I feel like I've worked in different aspects, and usually I get in a job and I just like it.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't even know what to want to go toward, because I get a job and I work it and I like it.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying, when you find a true passion, you will see the shift. The shift will be, this isn't work. You just said it. I go to work. I go to work. I go to work. You will see the shift was, I don't go to work. I go play. And I get paid to go play. You know, I mean, that's where the shift happens. So, yes?
Where do you see yourself in the future? Do you see yourself kind of, this project right now, this ideal shape, is that going to be kind of your legacy project, or do you anticipate maybe selling this one and then moving on to something else?
I don't know. I mean, there's a good chance that we'll sell this business in a few years. It's nowhere near where we want to take it, so we've still got a few years to make that happen. We have a son that's a partner in the business that would be thrilled to go to coaching football, so he would think that's great, as he would then get to do his passion. He's passionate about what we do, but his real passion that keeps him up is football.
So when you start a business, do you start with kind of an exit strategy in mind?
Sometimes.
This is where we would like to get to, and then we would entertain selling.
Sometimes not. Yeah. It depends. Like when I did Occurrence, I had investors, so I had to have an exit strategy. This one, we don't have investors. It's just us, and so we can pretty much decide. But we know our talents and abilities, and we kind of know where we could take it, so it's like, you know, we can still do this. You had a question?
Yeah, I have the opposite problem from Lisa down here. I have so many passions. Every night of the week, something new is keeping me up. I'm a vocal performance major. I'm in creative writing classes. I own a business, which is why I'm in this class. I'm going to start taking photography next semester. I do frequent Kickstarters. There's just 5 million things that I'm all really passionate about, and whichever one's the flavor of the day, I can't stop talking about. And someone recently advised that I cut back on a those and choose one, do you think it's better to try to find which
You're
one
what we
you're
call
most
a
passionate
you're what we call a serial entrepreneur. There's many of us. We're almost crazy. People look at us that way too, and it's okay. So here's what I would tell you. If you want to be super successful and make lots of money, then you pick one that has the most chance to do that, has the biggest, at the end of the line, this is what you really could do with it if you did it full time without these 20 other ones that are taking. We had to shelf Ideal Shape because it was taking away from our core business at Occurrence, and we were losing focus because we were getting so excited about the health and fitness business that our CFO came to us and said, listen, you need to pick one of these businesses. You can't serve both of them. And so we had to shelf Ideal Shape till we sold Occurrence, and then we could come back to it. Some people say, I don't care about making millions. That's not why I'm in this. I want to just do the flavor of the day. That's what I want to do. This is what I want to do, and then tomorrow I want to do this one, and this is exciting, and this is so I don't get bored, and that's fine. I look at people and say, is it a lifestyle business? Is it a lifestyle for you? Is that what it is? Then do it. But if you need to grow it to really have something to eventually make a lot of money or exit or provide for a family or have a legacy or have your kids get involved or whatever, then you do need to pick one and really figure out which one you're most passionate about and has the biggest opportunity to do that. And then focus on it, and the other ones become hobbies and you just do them on occasion for fun. But there's a lot of serial entrepreneurs out there, and they just jump from thing to thing, and some of them are successful and some of them aren't, but they love their life and they're good at it, and they don't care what other people think. So it's really what is your end result and thing you're going for.
So if you are that serial entrepreneur, because I'm kind of in the same boat a little bit as Michelle, I absolutely love where I work. I work for the airlines.
Okay.
But I work for the airlines because I leave the country every 6 weeks. So that's my passion there. My other passion, which is what I love, is I'm a chef.
Okay.
So I make pastries and chocolates. How do you find that balance? Here's the thing for me, is if I had my own bakery, which ideally, originally was my dream, to have the standalone bakery, then I can't travel.
Right.
So that's why I do the things, and I sell everything on the side without having a storefront.
Right.
So that I can still keep leaving the country.
Right.
How do you find the balance where you're able to be productive in both?
Well, you have two very...
Because I have a passion and I have a desire. The desire is the travel. My passion is I love being in the kitchen. Right,
and you have two conflicting passions. I mean, seriously.
Absolutely.
Because the bottom line is most entrepreneurs will tell you that it is very difficult to travel if you're going to try to run a business. Now, we set Ideal Shape up so we could travel, because that was a big part of, we love to travel too, and so we can do our business from anywhere in the world. And so then you have to say, well, could I have this business and have somebody run the physical part of it and me be anywhere in the world? If not, then you have to pick one, because the bottom line is those are two conflicting desires. And ours go together because even though our employees are like, oh, you're off again, hey, you know what? This is why we created this business. We could run it from anywhere, and that's what we've done. So we created an online business that we can run from anywhere. So you would have to take your passion and figure out how you could create an online business you could run from anywhere. And I don't know, that's a very difficult thing in what you've chosen, but it's not impossible. There's a lot of people that have done it. They have a mail order type business, and then they hire employees, and they are very specific about how it's to be done, and that they do it while they're gone, and they pop in and out back and forth. So there's ways to do it, but you've got two big conflicts there. So they don't really support.
When I travel, I do it for educational reasons.
Yeah.
I mean, I was at the chocolate festival this weekend in Paris. It was for educational reasons.
Yep.
I was taking courses there.
Yep.
So
it's true. And if you ever talk to Mary Crafts, she travels a lot. And maybe, Mary Crafts runs a culinary business, right? And she's got it to a level where she can travel, but she travels to improve her business. I mean, it's all about that. So part of you has to figure out how to make a sacrifice to get to that level so that you could do that. One thing I tell people, you really can't have it all right away. You can have it all,
It's not a right away.
but not always right away. Yeah. So, any other questions?
Well, last year you spoke kind of from a personal perspective, because I remember a student asking you, what would you have done differently? And you didn't have a lot of business tips that way because you've really been very successful. I don't think you had any big glaring things, but you talked a little bit about now that you're very committed to making sure you're there for your family, and you made and I don't know if it was flippant or if it was legitimate, you made a comment and you said, I would have paid more attention to my first husband.
Right.
And I thought that was pretty profound because I think, in some ways, we do have to kind of make decisions about where our time and our energy goes, especially as a woman. And I felt like it would be really valuable for this group if you would maybe
Sure.
spend a little time talking about that topic.
Yeah, I don't usually do that, but you're right that last year that was what was prompted to say is in my first marriage, I thought it was going along great. So I didn't put a lot of time, energy, and effort in it, and my husband left me for someone else. And at the time I was like, oh my gosh, and how awful are you? I mean, pretty much like, that's horrible. And as years went by, I started to recognize and learn what I had done to basically push him away and to put all my energy, effort into my kids and very little into my relationship. Because I thought, he's a big boy. We have a great relationship. It's all good. And what I realized is that's not the case. And if you don't put the time, energy, and effort into your relationship, they will fizzle, they will go away, and you will end up being a single mom. And that's the reality. What I've learned since then in my current relationship is that I might make my husband a priority. So when we are listing off the priorities, he's one of those. And I do what I need to do to show him that he's important and I need him and he matters and all those things that you think, well, he's a big boy. No, they're all little boys. They just look bigger, seriously. They need to feel important. They need to feel needed. They need to feel special. They need to feel like they matter. And she did. She asked me what thing I would change, and that would be the one thing. Because you're right. I mean, as far as my career, it's been amazing. I have the life I've ever dreamed of, with that exception. That is the one thing I did not do well, wish I would have understood, and would change if I could change anything. So thanks for reminding me of that, because I had totally forgot about
Pretty
that.
priceless kind of realization.
Yeah, and I think last year I couldn't even get through it without tearing up. This year I did pretty good. That's how hard that is. Yeah. So.
And then in talking about that lifestyle, you're saying that you travel a lot. It feels like you're in a really good place. Like you're really enjoying
Yes.
where you're at.
Yes.
To me, that's somewhat inspiring because I think how wonderful to really feel that fullness of life.
Yep.
And travel may be a big part of it.
Yeah, that and the fact that I think it's your choice. And you've got a choice every single day. You can pick your attitude. You can pick how you face life. And not to say my life's perfect or great. I mean, I've got my challenges. I got my issues. I got things going on with kids. You're going, really? You're gonna do that? That's not gonna work out so good for you. But okay, things like that. So, but I do choose to be happy. I do choose to be fulfilled. I do choose to be doing the things I love to do. And so no matter where you're at in life, that's always a choice you have. So yeah, very much so. Yes?
How old are your children now?
22 to 34.
Okay, so they're all grown up now,
Yeah.
grown up.
Yeah. Out of the house, we'll say that. Yep.
Yep.
They keep coming back, but yeah, they're out of the house.
When they were younger, how were you able to juggle your time with them at home? Because you've obviously been a very successful businessman, so you've put a lot of time into that. And I know that you said that you you know, you scheduled them in so that you could be
Right.
there at those important times. Was there anything else you did during the times when they were little to adjust your schedule or anything to really make sure that they knew that they were up there?
Well, the beauty now is you can do so much from home. So, you know, back in the day, that was a very difficult thing because sometimes I took them to work with me. Guess what? You get to color in the conference room today, you know. Oh boy! You know, the first few times it was fun and exciting. The next time, like, Mom, we don't want to go there. We don't want to be there. No, you get to. So, you know, now with the ability to do so much from home, you can be there in different ways. And like I said, for some reason, during a lot of that time, I just needed less sleep. So I could get by with a lot less and get things done when the boys were asleep and do things. So, you know, I tried to save those couple hours in the evening for them. I tried to be there after school or at a school event in the morning when they took off, and then just work around that as best I could. I mean, I don't think anybody's perfect at it. I think you just figure out what works for you and your husband and your situation and your kids, and just make sure that they always feel loved. I mean, I think that's the beauty of you know, that one thing is if they feel loved, there's a lot of things they can go without and do without. So one of my kids once said, Mom, we don't resent your entrepreneurial, we always had a job, we always had an opportunity, we always knew that we were loved and cared about, no matter what. So, I mean, they looked at the positive, they see it as, you know, grown men now, so. And I think I set that example for them, so we'll see. It's not perfect.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.